Good morning. Thank you for all being here today as I urge the governor to show his support of House Bill 595 by signing it into law. The question is, why is House Bill 595 so important to our local area and to Pennsylvania residents? You will hear from several people today that will help explain why it is so important and such a tremendous achievement in legislation, especially for our area. Over a quarter of Pennsylvania residents live in private communities, co-ops, or condominiums, and in Monroe and Pike counties, we have a very strong amount of residents living in these communities. So strong that over the years, it became very evident that the resources to help them in certain situations were very limited. These communities are governed under some sort of board and rules and regulations based on our state's Planned Communities Act. This act offers flexibility to these associations. However, it does establish a framework in law for governing. As you can imagine, there are many issues that can arise in private communities, and boards may decide on different mechanisms to address these concerns. However, over the years in working with constituents, I have recognized the volume of private homeowner complaints that have serious, possibly fraudulent qualities. Besides a private lawsuit, the private homeowner does not have any resource to protect their rights. Private lawsuits are also often intimidating and financially out of reach for homeowners and also for homeowners associations, leaving them with no options and also causing associations strong financial distress. House Bill 595 expands the power of the Attorney General's Office Bureau of Consumer Protection to mediate and investigate complaints from private communities on the issues of voting, proxies, quorums, meetings, and association records. The legislation also requires that every association formed after this law must have an alternative dispute resolution established, which is geared to promoting a strong mechanism to work through issues locally. If a board does not currently have an ADR system, they will be encouraged to establish one in this legislation, since without one, a complaint that then can go directly to the Attorney General's office. This legislation is truly a mechanism to aid the residents of our private communities and have an outlet of mediation and investigation, if necessary, from the Attorney General's office if fraudulent activities are occurring, causing violation of a resident's rights. The goal is to create a stronger system of oversight and to ensure our communities are working legitimately and offering more harmonious community living and offering benefits to our local residents who live in them. With that, I'd like to introduce our first guest, who's going to offer some comments in regards to the importance of the legislation, Spiros Bilianis, who is the president-elect for the Pocono Mountain Board of Realtors. Spiros.
Thank you, Rosemary.
Thank you.
The Pocono Mountain Association of Realtors would like to express our support of Representative Rosemary Brown's House Bill 595. Homeowner associations are becoming a lot more prevalent throughout the state. And as you mentioned, nearly a quarter of our homeowners now live in communities governed by associations. We believe that the individual homeowner needs somewhere to turn to in case of serious violations by these associations. House Bill 595 provides the individual homeowner with the necessary assistance and investigative tools in case of a possible violation.
Thank you, Spiros.
Thank you.
Thank you, Spiros. And next we have Michelle Kluel, who is the Township Secretary for Middle Smithfield Township. And Middle Smithfield Township has been very active, one of the strongest townships that I have in my district in working with homeowners associations. And often you will see them promoting a monthly seminar or a quarterly seminar in order to offer education for these associations. So Michelle, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Rosemary. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for inviting Middle Smithfield Township to this press conference on a subject so important to all of us. In Middle Smithfield Township, roughly 60% or more of our residents live within homeowner associations. Each of these homeowner associations is managed by an elected board of directors, and these directors must maintain the highest level level of transparency and integrity in the administration of their communities. Middle Smithfield Township supervisors are supportive of our residents and the Homeowner Association Board of Directors, and we provide educational and informative work sessions with the directors and managers of the HOAs at least twice a year at our township offices. As an unwritten form of government, HOA boards are answerable to those that they serve. But when they don't answer, when questions go unanswered, or anomalies are perceived by the community at large, complaints should be resolved to the residents' satisfaction. Complaints that go unanswered will now be able to be pursued by the state as representative of the people. Middle Smithfield Township supervisors wholeheartedly support that has been sponsored by our state representative, Rosemary Brown. We appreciate that Representative Brown has produced a bill that has been sought after by many of our constituents. We look forward to final passage of this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle, very much. Thank you. And our township supervisors today are actually in Harrisburg with the PSATS convention. So, Michelle, thank you very much for offering those comments. And next we have Kathleen Moran, who is a retired staffer to my district office and also a Pike County resident. Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Kathleen Moran, and I am a resident of Pike County and a retired staffer for State Representative Rosemary Brown. I have the great honor today to take a few moments on House Bill 595 based on my experience. As a previous staffer for Representative Brown for over 5 years, I have worked with countless constituents on their frustrations and serious concerns living in private communities and the inability to have a voice in when there's a serious complaint. While there are often can be personality conflicts as a disagreement between board members and/or the residents, which is normal, some of the deeper concerns can be quite serious and fraudulent. So where does a constituent who lives in a private community go for a serious complaint at this point? That is where the problem begins. Far too often, a resident would give up on their rights with the concern since a private lawsuit financially was just not feasible. It became very evident to Representative Brown and the whole staff that something needed to be done. Now retired from my position in the office, I am still a resident of Pike County and also a resident of a Pike County Homeowners Association, which is experiencing several issues. I also continue to hear private community concerns as I live my daily life. I firmly believe that House Bill 595 will help with many of the serious issues community residents are facing, and it begins to help pull all parties together to ensure procedures are being followed correctly. It is critical that private communities follow the Planned Community Act, and if not, they are held to strong mediation and investigation, such as these proposed in House Bill 595, to help protect residents' rights. I thank Representative Brown for her extremely hard work and dedication to this issue, as I have personally witnessed the legislative process and the difficulty to getting this to the governor's desk. It takes the will to understand your constituents and the issues, and then have the tenacity and the determination to fix it. Thank you, Rosemary, for your help with the residents who live in private communities and working to create fairness. And I please ask that Governor Wolf urgently sign this bill. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And our last guest is Suzanne Mark, who I've gotten to know very well, who is the Secretary of Saw Creek Estates, and who is also a member of the Homeowners Association Task Force that we have created in the office that I will mention after she says a few words. Thank you, Suzanne.
Well, forget that. Everything has been said that I was going to say. The interesting thing for me is that I started out as one of those homeowners. And it is very difficult. It was very difficult. And now I'm on the other side of the table and I see both sides. I've also gotten very involved with the CAI, Community Association Institute, which is the trade organization for homeowner associations. And I've gotten to know homeowners and homeowner leadership, and so I see it is absolutely essential for both sides. There are many small homeowner associations that don't have a lot of revenue to fight a suit that might be brought by a homeowner. And so this really benefits both sides. I think it's also interesting to note that 60% of the homes that are being built today, new homes, are in homeowner associations. We don't always think of that, but the depth and breadth of this community is huge. We look in Philadelphia, look at all of the condominiums that have taken place. That's part of homeowner associations. Here in the Poconos, we have a huge concentration of homeowner associations. This Bill 595 is absolutely essential. Please, Governor Wolf, sign it.
Thank you very much, all of you, for your comments, and I think we're all on the same page. You can hear the tone of the importance for the residents and why it is so important for us, especially even locally, that there's an avenue for residents to be able to send a very serious complaint to the Attorney General's office. So once again, I'd like to thank you all for attending, and I will open it up if there are any questions that you may have as well before we close out the press conference. Questions, sure.
In terms of the areas that you cited that an individual can actually bring a complaint to the Attorney General's office, I think you cited governing rules, I think it was like 4 different categories. In terms of issues that fall outside of those broad categories, is that covered?
No,
In
so.
this bill, or?
Right. So in this bill, it is those 5 issues, voting, meeting, proxies, quorums, and association records. Currently, the Attorney General's office does have the power with financial records for private communities. So this expands the power for those additional areas to be able to accept complaints on those areas. So there may be some other issues that fall outside of that. We had to work very strongly over the 4-year process with the Attorney General's office and with the legislative body to really kind of hone in on what we believe the most serious fraudulent issues may be. Private communities have a lot of flexibility in how they do things based on their bylaws. And you have to remember that because they are private, one community over another has that flexibility to try to enhance their community to make it better than the next or whatever else they might want to offer as far as amenities, which is a great thing. But we tried to narrow in on the scope to specific issues that we felt would be the most fraudulent and would really attack the residents' rights at the highest level. And while doing that, also being very careful that we did not expand the cost to the Attorney General's office, which was very important because whenever you work with a state agency and including more work and more issues coming their way, you could raise the cost of that agency. And we had to be very careful that the Attorney General's office was able to handle these complaints without expanding the cost of government. Yeah, so that was a very strong process that we did. And so again, pretty fiscally responsible for that. And also the legislative body, you can see the House was unanimous and the Senate was unanimous, very much for those reasons of how we worked all of this out to make sure that we were going after the largest issues that would give the most impact to the residents and help the residents, while also making sure state government was run efficiently. Any other questions? Got a great group. And I will tell you, if there's any questions up and beyond after the press conference, always feel free to give me a call as well. And I'd like to thank you all once again. I thank our guests for their comments and support. And I would like to mention, as I did in the beginning of the press conference, that we have established a homeowners association task force as well through the office. And right now we have 4 members. We will be expanding that to 7 members. And our goal here really is with the statistics of how we live in our community and how many people live in private communities locally, that we want to be a resource. We want to be able to identify further issues, and we want to be able to make sure that we offer education for our board members. So we're looking at all sides of living in a community, and our board members are important. They're volunteers. They're people who are trying to help out. They're trying to do a great job, but oftentimes they need education and assistance as well. So we have a seminar coming on May 6th at Whispering Pines from 2 to 5 that will be for board members and offering specific topics of education, and I encourage all board members to attend that seminar, you can just call my office, 570-420-8301 to register, and we would really love to see as many board members as possible at that seminar, and this is the first of many to come. But I also would like to, again, thank you for coming, and Governor Wolf, I look forward to you signing House Bill 595 and supporting the residents of my district and also of Pennsylvania. Thank you very much.